Hello everybody, my name is Tristan Wick, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the 2.8 update called the Great Harvest. So, a great start in the beginning, let's check out the changelog. The first thing we're going to be talking about in this update is strawberries. So, you can find them in a flower forest, so let's find a flower forest. Oh, look, a flower forest. How convenient. So, they should just be stacked around just randomly in here. Like here's one, so we can collect this one and we'll have them up. But what now that you have strawberries, what do you do with them? So outside the eating purposes, if I take out my crafting table, there's plenty of things that you can do with them. All right. So blueberries and strawberries are both bush plants. So if you take a glass bottle and you actually put two of a berry and a sugar in a bottle, you will get some jam. And you can do the same thing with the strawberry. You can put there and then there. And I didn't mean to make it shaped, but apparently it's shaped. I can get rid of it later. But now you have these. You may also have been wondering why I have iron in my inventory. If we just take 3 and put them in a line, we're able to make a sheet pan. And sheet pans are important because we're going to need them to be able to make pies. So we have the cherry pie, blueberry pie, apple pie, and strawberry pie. Unfortunately, I forgot to grab the wheat. Just give me a second. Oh, look at that. Wheat. How convenient. Same thing, if you just put in some wheat and sugar, a sheet pan, and then one of your very nice looking fruits, you can choose which pie you would like to make, whether that be strawberry, apple, blueberry, or cherry. So, each pie is different. So, like if you eat them, you don't eat the iron part. That was something that I need to make sure was fixed. And then jam, you will be able to drink it and you'll get the bottle back. So that's also important. So that was our little food section. But moving on to the next section, we have marble. So marble is really interesting because we have a marble expansion practically. So if we take out our crafting table, so marble can be used to make the walls, slabs, the stairs, and then you have the regular marble, obviously. So here you can see with the walls, the stairs, the actual physical block, and then your slabs. But then we have yet another variant. So if you take your marble and you can do the 4, you can make the marble bricks, in which you can turn these bricks into slabs, you can turn them into walls, and you can also turn them into stairs. Everything in my mod that requires stairs, yes, you do get 8 pieces for all of them. That is intentional. But here we have basically the blackest block that is in the game. I mean, you can't really get darker than this. I mean, it makes black stone look pretty blue. But marble has been expanded. That's pretty much this edition. So we can move on to the next one. Here we have 3 new types of stone. And I try to put them in semi-altitude order. So here we have shale. Shale will spawn where over stone, and it goes anywhere from above sea level, and it's supposed to be like on the sides of mountains, and it's just I think it gives the mountains a nice like extra detail like look to them because there's a lot of mountain sites that have that shale on the side of it. Only in certain biomes where like stone shores, like the ones where you have like a lot of those like ocean stone biomes, um, you should be able to find um, limestone. It's found in the warm ocean biome types as well. So the stone shore also counts in with that, but warm ocean biome if you're looking for limestone, because of that sandiness to it. So I feel like this blends in with those colors. So this one's a little bit more rare to find because although that generates in every biome, this is biome specific. And then we have diabase. Diabase is only found at basically bedrock level. So it just fills in that stone that's in the where the bedrock is. So now you have the first 5 blocks at the very bottom is going to be either bedrock or diabase. And this was supposed to be like, if you ever like the bedrock texture, this is supposed to look like that bedrock. It's supposed to be like bedrock like. That way, if you ever wanted to build, use it, or anything like that, you should be able to use it. So if you ever like the bedrock texture, now you should be able to access it and use it in your build freely without having it, be unobtainable. So this allows that bedrock texture like to be obtainable. And obviously the texture is a little bit different. This way you can tell which one is mineable, which one isn't, and it, helps with that. So I don't want to cause any like legitimate frustration. So this is like off-brand bedrock basically. Cork trees! Here is a very basic cork tree. This one seems a little bit taller than average. They're probably usually like 1 block lower. But this is what a cork tree should look like. It's got the very vibrant green leaves and a very acacia-ish, like on the inside acacia-ish feel. But it's actually outside in the bark. Now, I actually didn't make these textures. The textures were actually made by Jack, somebody who's on the server. So thanks to Jack for making these textures. And he also helped with all these ones. Now, I made the cork and the cork block, but everything else in this texture list he had made. But as the tree from your basic log and leaves, you should also have, so there's your leaves, wood, log, stripped wood, your log, slab, stair, plank, trapdoor, pressure plate, regular door. You have your oak fence, or cork oak fence, and your fence gate. So with that in mind, I mean, obviously you come with the saplings, but this is the cork, and the cork drops randomly from the leaves as well as the sapling. You can also use 9 corks to make a cork block. Now, what is cork, and how can cork be used? So let's take out our handy-dandy crafting table, and let's see what we can do with these. So quickly, if we were to try and make your casual glass bottles, you'll notice that it doesn't make the bottle. I forgot how to make glass bottles. I think this is it. I don't know. I just know that whatever the glass bottle was, it is removed, and now you need the glass block, and you can put a cork piece on it, and for each one of each, you should get 4 bottles. So having a stack of each could give you this, which nobody really needs this many bottles, but it is now enforced that you're going to need a little cork piece to go in the top of the bottle for the recipe to work. So it does make the game a little bit more tedious, a little bit more realistic to its texture, and I look forward to making this tediousness further as the mod continues. Now, I'm not going to get very tedious in how to get the dyes. From there, you should already know, and I also have a series coming up in case you don't know, but for now, what we have is we have the 5 mod colors that I've added, which would be violet, ultramarine, new green, oh, no, spring green, rose, and new green. And with that, we have the concrete powder. When the concrete powder gets wet, it makes the concrete. The terracotta variant. When the terracotta gets smelted in a furnace, it will become glazed terracotta. You can put it on glass and make your glass blocks, and those glass blocks can make the glass panes, the stained glass panes. And you can also use them with the candles and have their own candle colors. Now, for each season that comes out, there will be some special pictures taking place. So this was Cal's, this larger one is called Cal's Area, and then this tiny one is called Cal's House, and then this one is just known as Romeo's Farm. So these 3 have been added to the registry and are now paintings. These ones are the big pictures. So these are 8 blocks with 4 blocks of height, and then this little one is a 2x2. Now, I know somebody would have had to have seen this on the floor and been like, whoa, what are these? Now, inspired texture from the redstone dust, there are some changes, so even if you actually have real redstone dust, you might be able to tell what it is. Now, these do not conduct electricity. It was something that I was going to do, but then decided to remove, so these are just fancy like this. And their actual block format is inspired by the glow lichen. So, how do you make these dusts, and what do they do? So, when you get a jewel, you can put it into the stone cutter and turn it into dust. Now, there is no way that if you have a dust to turn it back into a jewel currently. I think that there are some ways that I'm going to be doing that, but that's going to be later. You can put the dust on the floor, and you can interact with that block. Once you step on it, it'll then give you that effect, and as you can see, it's on 2 seconds, and if I step off of it, it will run out. Gone. So these are contact blocks. Now you can break them, and another thing that makes them useful is that you can put them on the sides and even the tops of blocks. So even if I was to jump, you can see that I still get it for just a couple of seconds. And you can also, what makes this really, really cool, is that when they're interactive like that, you can actually stack them together. So if I take this one off, and I now put in the amber, and I put in the hessonite, and I put in the tourmaline, and I also put in the topaz, putting all of them together, you'll notice I have 4 effects. So they're all going to be stacked together on the floor, and then I can just keep adding them together. We got slow falling, and we also have aquamarine. Now, most of these dusts, let me say, other uses for this is that for things like this, you'll notice that they pop off instantly and are not waterloggable. However, the aquamarine one is a water effect. So, if I should be able to use it, and this one is waterloggable. This one only works for the ones that where their effects have to deal with water. Otherwise, it won't work. Now, when it comes to potions, you're going to have to know exactly how each effect works in the game for you to be able to utilize its full, like, power, I guess. So when it comes to the aquamarine dust, we know that they're waterloggable. It gives me Dolphin's Grace. Now, dust can be used to make potions, and this changes 2 things. This changes, should I make a potion and drink that potion, it gave me it gave me 1/2 a bar, which is interesting. But as you can tell, as soon as I started healing, it went down. It is much better for me to lay this down on the ground and use it just like that, and it'll keep my healing a lot better. So you can tell that this one, the dust, is much better than the potion. When it comes down to the Dolphin's Grace, or Aquamarine in this case, it's good to know that putting it on the ground and that it's waterloggable does help, but as soon as the effect wears off, we can't really interact with it that much. So for this one, it would be much better to drink a potion rather than to put it on the ground, and we'll have a much smoother guide on here. Now, the effects all give power 1, so just keeping that in mind, because some things in the magic category do different levels. Every single thing has a level of 1. So when you're using this kind of stuff, you're gonna have to utilize its best advantage. Making a Dolphin's Grace 1, the reason I even mentioned the level is because some of the things here can seem a little crazy. Just Dolphin's Grace 1 and Depth Strider 3. So this should technically already be in the game. It's just not using a dolphin, it's using a potion. The potion's not in the game. But with that in mind, you should better be able to try and figure out what is better. Making a dust that I'll put on the ground. Is it more... Can I get more utilization out of it by putting it on the ground, or do I get more utilization from it through a potion? So these are those things that you're going to have to figure out yourself in your own personal opinion. But we do have this as the magic tab, meaning that we have one for every single effect. This is probably going to be a bad idea, but you can see how it kind of all figures out. Each one has its own thing. What I hold in my hands here, if I read it again, Shadow Creature Spawn Egg. And as you can tell, what's really cool, I remember this being a problem in the past before, I am holding an item and I can see through it. So that is really, really cool. This thing is the only invisible egg on here, but this is also the very first invisible entity. Now, that clicking you can hear, those footsteps are his. So like the sand are mine, but every time you hear that crackling is him. Now I can't tell where he is. It'd be better if I have like a... Oh, yeah, he'll hit you. He's a hostile mob. And if I just kind of aimlessly hit... Oh, did you hear that? Oh. Now that is a pretty scary mob. And you can tell that there's a little shadow item on the ground, which I can pick it up, and it's called X-Ray Block. Now this one is really cool, because what this does is I can place it on the ground, if I'm not levitating. Here, let me come out. I thought it'd be really cool to put it in the middle. I can put this on the ground, and I can actually see through everything. It's making everything that I can't see through see-throughable. So that is really cool. Now the loot table is missing, and is missing on purpose. So this is a very scarce item. Once you break it, it's gone. There's no way of getting it. So be very collective on that material. He does intentionally drop it not 100% of the time. This is put in for kind of like a questionable sanity purposes of like, did he drop the item? It's like a 9/10 chance, I believe. So 9 out of 10 times I'll drop it, but it's supposed to be that if he doesn't, like, if you really are looking for it, and it's supposed to make you go looking around for it because it's not actually there. Now, when it comes to actually fighting him, doing it by hand is not a very good idea. He does have 5 health, and he only does half a heart of damage. So, those are very interesting things. There are a couple easier ways to find him. So, this time I have an egg, and I'm going to put it on the ground. And if I see how the sword, I can't tell where he is, he's getting close, up, and he's right there. The sword will actually tell you the swinging animation, telling you when he's close. Now, I'm going to use another technique in which you can tell if he's close or not, or where he is. If you use F3B, this shows hitboxes, and you can tell this entity is really, really slow. He actually gets a little bit faster when he's close to you, but if he's not too close to you, like within 2 blocks, he's really, really slow. Now, he doesn't burn in daylight, but he can be hurt by like stuff like you, like where he can drown. Lava affects him. He can see you more than 1,000 blocks away, and he will slowly crawl to you until he finally gets you. The fuel registry has been updated, in which banana peels now they now fuel for 100 ticks instead of 200, so they have lowered. And this one has magnificently increased, and now burns for 16,000 ticks instead of 2,000, so it's 8 times stronger. Oof, better get me some Hellstone. Here is what the Savannah looks like now. As you can tell, there are the nice, bright, vibrant green trees, and what you'll notice is the purple trees, the jacarandas, are no longer here. Now, did they get removed? No. Instead, they just got moved to a different biome. So I don't think that purple really fit this biome the way it could have best been applied. But this green, it is a little off, and I might change the texture a little bit. But I feel like this is a much more fitting for the biome. But where did the jacarandas go? The jacaranda trees are much more beautiful looking in these much colder biomes because they do honestly look like a colder tree. So I put them in a biome called the Snowy Plains. So this is where they can be found. I might increase how many biomes that there are and just move them to all snow biomes. But as of now, just the Snowy Plains will do. And you can kind of put in your input on how this change applies, because comparing it to where they originally were, I feel like this is a much better change for them. Here we can find some naturally spawning lucky ore, which is now grayscale. So the lucky item and lucky block are still yellow, and that is because the lucky ore still drops the yellow lucky pieces. Now, the grayscale is supposed to better help fit the environment, but honestly, I think this is going to be the last update that they're going to be generated as an ore. I'm eventually going to be changing this in which they are going to be just lucky pieces, and lucky pieces should only be found in things such as chests. Yeah, here's some. Now, I'm not really too sure how to prove these kind of things visually in the world, so we're just going to take a quick little scroll through. But I did change that, increase the jewel vein size from 3 to 4, and the other thing that I did was I changed um, the jewel generation attempts from 32 to 64. So there is now, so jewels will spawn at twice as much, and will have an extra possibility of an extra jewel being there for every time it actually spawns. So with that in mind, there will be a lot more jewels in the world. I've already actually increased it from the previous update, but now it's been increased. It's been doubled again, and only a 25% increase on the actual veins themselves. Now, when I was recoloring all these special textures, this one in the middle, spring green wool in particular, ended up getting an entire retexturing, and this is just to better to fit the new changes I was making. So I had a hard time actually finding exactly how I got the exact color I did last time. So I just changed the color, and I took a better, deeper look into it to see how I was going to fit it in with the other colors. So this is the final result of that. So here I have a penguin spawn egg, and so when I place it, it is wild. It is now able to be leashed. I can take off the leash, I can tame it, and then I should still be able to leash it. Now, I have no idea what is going on with a leash, but this does fix the issue of penguins not being able to follow someone. You can leash them whether they are tamed or not, so they will now be able to follow you. Upon that. So now you have movable, or much easier movable penguins. Graves have been removed. Graves would tell you normally where you died, your exact location. But if you didn't know, I've had this issue where they started spawning at the height limit, which was at 320. And so you would have to pull all the way up to height world limit and then grab your stuff, and that was super inconvenient. So until I could get that fixed, it should, like I said, it should only be temporary, but in this update they are removed. Now, surprisingly, this idea was put in, and it was supposed to be called poison grass, and it gave the wither effect. I actually recoded this so that now when you step on it, you'll be given the poison effect, and you'll notice it's being a little weird. I have poison, but it's not poisoning me. It doesn't get poisoned until after I step off of it. Now, if you have a problem with that, you have to understand why I did that. So if I kind of go over here, he shouldn't have wandered off too far. Come here, you. You used to have a horse, and if your horse stepped on the wither grass, he would just take damage, take damage, take damage, kind of like this, and your horse would die. But here, you are able to sit on it, and you'll still take the damage as soon as you step off of it. But notice how when the horse takes damage, he does that thing where he gets up. A lot of horses and animals would die because they didn't want to move because they would get stuck in it. So here it still tells you that you should avoid the grass, otherwise you'll get the poison. But um, that's the change. Another difference that separates Wither from Poison is that if you are in half heart, whether it be your pet or yourself, as soon as you take the damage, it won't actually damage you. So that's more of a gracious moment. So you're welcome. In your advancement tab, there should be the mods, and it stopped at colors to die for, and I changed the name, and I forgot to change it in here when I was coding it, so this was kind of gone, but it is back now. New Rainbow Collection. Rainbow Collection. I'm not gonna read it, but that was a missing advancement and now is put in. Here, if I go into Woodworks, this one actually surprised me. I think this one was found by Cal. When you place things, there is a wood sound. Now, I see it as blocked place, blocked broken, so that's probably why I didn't even register that the sound different. You can tell that it here sounds like wood, because that's what it is supposed to sound like. And originally, before it had the stone sounds, which, if you want to know what that sounds like, we just grab some stone, and you can hear the difference. So, me playing, I didn't notice that, but Cal had noticed it, so all of them, all the woodworks, make the wood sound. Or at least they should. All the wood types should now also be able to catch fire. Previously, before and in the seasons, I currently had it so that the woods were not able to catch fire. I was debating whether it should stay like that or not as a cool feature to the mod trees, and I decided to remove them, so they will burn. If you had any buildings made out of this stuff, I apologize. They're going to burn. Now, I'm still trying to think of a way that to fix how I want oil to be made properly, but oil, when making from the heated oil bucket to the oil ball, it used to consume the bucket, but now the bucket does not get consumed, and you can have the bucket back. So here we have Hellstone, and Hellstone used to only be found in nether wastes, but if you travel far enough until you find another biome, I usually find Hellstone very frequently by looking at the ceiling, so if I can find another biome real quick, oh, there's some, found in a different biome. So, it can now be found in all nether biomes and not just the nether wastes, so that helps it feel like more of a complete ore. So here we have a random villager. I did spawn him, but as you can tell, he is just jobless. Oh, he's interested in what I have. If I put it on the ground, he should be interested and become what's the mysterious alchemist. If you're not too sure what this is, it'll probably be explained at some point, just not yet. Going back to the Minecraft page, if I go into the foods and go to the bottom, actually, it didn't even have to go that far because they should be in alphabetical order. But blueberries are now registered as in the foodstuffs category. It wasn't previously. All doors now look fine. It was a previous bug that they changed something with how they hinge. Um, and like I said earlier, they don't really tell us when they make these changes, so it's just something that we had to find out ourselves on surprise. And but they're all working now. The lucky block and lucky item have actually been updated to drop 1.19 items. Since this is just a rare chance, oh, you can see that there is a some skulk in the from the blocks category, but yeah. They are now updated to 1.19, so remember that the lucky block and item is just anything random vanilla stuff. So there is a chance from both the item and the blocks to just drop, but they've been updated to the 1.19, and I'm pretty sure 1.1.20 comes out, I'll update it to 1.20 when Minecraft increases their items and blocks. So it doesn't matter what kind of hoe you have, whether it be Minecraft or the mod, if you have the leaves, you should now be able to break them much faster. The blast furnace and the smoker have been upgraded, so if you have things that go in there, you should be able to now smelt them faster in them. With the darkness as a new effect, it makes me my magic tab just that little bit harder, but being able to use potions have now been added to that registry. They were forgotten, but it's there now. So, all right, here we are in the end, and you could tell what are we doing here? What's why am I looking at quarite? So it turns out in 2.7, I somehow when the biomes got changed, and I accidentally made it quarite. Quarite did not spawn in the end. When I was making the 2.7 video update, because I wanted to do the 2.8, I found out this change was an accident, that I accidentally made it spawn in the natural real world and not in the end. So what I did is I literally just placed some like this and then continued my video as if it was normal, and then I just right then and there upgraded it because I was talking about the addition of end and like ender ingots and stuff like that. But despite you not noticing that quarite was not generating in the end, it was a bug that I have found, and I decided to say, time to put it back. It is back now, so now if you want to make ender shards to make your charms, that is now possible. With that in mind, that is the end. That is all of the 2.8 update. Thank you guys for watching. If you're unaware, we have Season 6 coming up. That is what the 2.8 is going to be on. It is going to be releasing on October 6th. So, talking about the simple rules, PvP is off for the first month of the new season. Updates will only be changed if there's a critical issue, meaning that someone or the server has crashed. All players must join within the first month to participate. So if you wish to participate, you as the viewer want to become somebody who just wants to be part of the season, you just got to DM me on Discord. I can always put it in the description below. But all participating players must be on at least 1 month, and once per those months. If you're not on once per those months, then what's going to end up happening is you will be disqualified. The reason why this happens is because it's for the player, for the winner. If there's people who haven't come onto the server, and obviously that person can easily kill you because if you've never been on, the other person has won the season, then they can do it. The season is also not supposed to be violent. It's not very violent until the very end. So, that's just kind of the way that is. But beyond that, when things start ending, the world border shrinks and the last player standing wins. But other than that, eventually I feel like we're going to be changing in the direction where I want it to be a work together. So eventually I want to try and create. I just started to be able to create the shadow creature that is congratulations to the mod. Um, that is the very first hostile mob. If I want to go up from there, I've been thinking about certain boss mobs, and I want to try and create a threat that everyone that everyone can try and work together to defeat, because the Ender Dragon is great, but it can be done solo. I want to try and make it so that you really can't do it solo, but you always know that is always there's always that try hard. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado,